Welcome everyone to another episode of 10-Minute Poker Tips. Apologize for my voice today. I'm a little bit under the weather, but as always, please like and subscribe. That you would help me out a ton if you can do that. We have a special guest today. His name is TJ Jurkiewicz. He was a former poker player, but now he is a fitness and nutrition coach, and he's going to give us some awesome tips about fitness and nutrition. Thank you for coming on the show, TJ.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. I love the concept. My attention span is very limited, so 10 minutes is good for the interview and to listen to as a listener slash viewer.
Yeah, thank you. It's really the kind of the same reason why I started it because I can't pay attention to like 20 or 30-minute videos.
I love it.
But I think poker players, especially tournament players, and especially for the World Series, we have these insane schedules. If we're fortunate enough, talking 12, 14-hour days, right? Very few breaks in between. We're also trying to be a little bit budget friendly, traveling all the way over to Vegas. But I think we almost need somebody with a bit of like poker background to be able to really understand like the struggles of a poker player. So you are actually perfect for that. So tell us a little bit about how, what recommendations you typically give to poker players and especially the World Series in Vegas for, fitness and nutrition.
I think the overall concept is going to be proactive.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is if you're staying in a hotel room that doesn't have a refrigerator or a microwave, stock up on non-perishables like protein powder, nuts, jerkies,
Mm.
fruits that don't have to be refrigerated, things you can pack with you easily in your backpack that keeps you from making those poor decisions going to the gift shop and getting a bag of Doritos,
Yeah.
or going to the food court on dinner break and getting Sbarro or, God forbid, Johnny Rockets like I did last year. But yeah, really being proactive, using Instacart, using Uber Eats to deliver things to your hotel room ahead of time or your Airbnb ahead of time. If you're just being reactive to the elements that the World Series throws at you, you are probably going to be worse for the wear. So
Yeah.
that would be my number one tip for people. Just be proactive, plan out ahead of time, get your groceries in order, get your room set up so that you're able to just focus on playing poker at the highest level possible without damaging yourself further with your nutrition and your fitness decisions.
Is there anything that's non-perishable that could be like an entire meal?
That's tough. Protein bars are probably going to be the closest thing you can get, and
Yeah.
beef jerky. A full rounded meal is going to be tough. I was about to say like deli sandwiches, but you need to refrigerate the meat. But you didn't hear this from me, but if you tell the hotel that you're diabetic and you need a
Yeah.
refrigerator for your insulin,
They'll-
they will give you one.
Yeah.
So if you're diabetic,
Yeah.
tell them and they'll give you a refrigerator.
Yeah, I've heard that tip too, and I'm definitely going to try that. And also for people out in Vegas, you can also ask for a humidifier. That also helps me a lot because it gets so dry in Vegas too as well. So yeah, I think those are great tips because I definitely struggle with like eating. So any other tips, I guess, in terms of, because you're actually obviously very familiar with Paris and Horseshoe and kind of the surrounding area, like any tips for go grab some food from somewhere, what would you suggest?
So I actually created a PDF, and I did this before AI existed, so it took me a very long time, but I put together an ebook about all the places that I considered walking distance from, it was at the time Bally's, but Bally's slash Horseshoe and Paris. I put every restaurant that was in walking distance. There might have been a few turnover here and there, but every restaurant within walking distance, I tried to put one, two, or three things for each restaurant that I would suggest ordering
Wow.
if you wanted to pick a healthier option. And you can find that. It's in my pinned tweet right now at the Fitness Jerk, and there's links for that. There's links to an in-room workout guide. There's links to a meal prep company in Vegas with a coupon code. There's a link to something else, I forget what, but I tried to make like a mega resource pinned tweet to help with all that. Just to quickly say my go-to meal that I would say, you probably have to go on dinner break. You won't be able to make it there on a shorter break, but the Yard House under the High Roller,
Oh yeah.
they have a steak bowl with quinoa and stir-fried vegetables. That's phenomenal. It's probably 500 calories, 40 grams of protein. It's light on your stomach. It's not going to make you feel like crap after you eat it. So that's like my go-to WSOP meal. It's probably $32 or something because the trip is just outrageous.
Yeah.
But that would be my go-to meal for WSOP.
That sounds fantastic. And those PDFs, man, that feels like some kind of secret superpower. Is that like well known by people that you have those out there?
When I first released it, it really did blow up. The past few years, maybe it's tapered off because the people that knew about it and wanted it already had it. But yeah, for people that don't know about that, you can download it directly to your phone. And I made the table of content. I grouped it by casino, and I made the table of contents clickable so that you can just click onto whatever restaurant you want to see in the table of contents. It'll take you right to the page and show you one, two, or three options that are a little lower calorie, higher protein, something that's going to keep you satiated for a longer period of time and not going to be too heavy on your stomach.
With all of that, like what are your general goals or guidelines that you're setting at a high level for a poker player?
At a high level, the high level performers that already have a fitness routine coming into the WSOP, you're going to try and mimic that the best you can.
Hmm.
Whether that's joining a gym, if you're staying at an Airbnb, it's joining a local gym, an LVAC, an EOS, a Planet Fitness, something like that, and trying to mimic your already existing workout schedule. But if you're staying in a hotel, utilizing the hotel gym or buying a set of resistance bands and doing workouts in your room, which I also made a PDF for. If you're not at a high level with your fitness, but you want to do something, I would say number one, like the first level that I would attack is 10,000 steps a day.
Hmm.
And if you're playing in Paris, my pro tip to you is if you're in the main ballroom, you can walk every break to the bathroom that's near the sports book. And that and back is usually you'll still have about 5 minutes to spare on your break and you get a lot of steps in. If you just stand around and don't go anywhere on your break, then you got people coming up to you telling you bad beat stories. So this is like a
Right.
two birds, one stone situation.
Yeah.
And then level two, I would say on top of the 10,000 steps, do some push-ups, some body weight squats, some planks in your hotel room before you get your day going. Just get your blood pumping a little bit. And then like that level three would be actual resistance workouts, whether that's with bands, whether it's with actual weights. But that's going to be like your hierarchy of things that you want to do. I think everyone should be doing 10,000 steps. Try to get them outside if you can, because sunlight is going to be at a premium during the WSOP
Yeah.
because you're going to be inside all day, and getting sunlight is very important, I think.
Yeah, so it sounds like cardio is probably like the number one thing for people for you, and then you're working in some weight training if they can here and there. If you can get to the gym, please do that. If not, then you can just do some stuff in the room.
Correct. Yeah. Just do the best you can. You don't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
but as long as you avoid that all or nothing mentality where it's like, I'm either going to be working out 5 days a week with cardio every day and 10,000 steps and my food's going to be perfect, or it's just going to be, I roll out of bed, when the alarm goes off because I have a day to restart and then I'm going to eat whatever's closest available to me. You're not going to be performing at your best on that end of the spectrum. So try and find that sweet spot between those two extremes and just live there for the series, and you'll be much better off than trying to do all or nothing.
And in terms of food groups, what would you recommend from a high level?
Always going to gravitate towards protein.
Hmm.
It's the most satiating macronutrient. And then it really is dependent for other people for the ratio of carbs and fats. Some people perform better on a higher amount of carbs. Some people, they get really sluggish and they get like sort of a brain fog when they have too many carbohydrates. So you sort of need to find your sweet spot there.
Yeah.
And that I can segue into another thing with personalizing things. Also, meal sizes. I have some clients that their plan, this works best for them. They have a very light breakfast, a very light lunch, and then a big dinner because they find that it puts less pressure on themselves to be perfect all day long and they have something to look forward to. However, for other people, if they try and have a very light breakfast, a very light lunch, they'll be so hungry at dinner that it's like an all out, all you can eat buffet situation. So
Yeah.
they need to be a little bit more balanced between the three meals. So you really need to know yourself and find out what works best for you. There's no cookie cutter strategy really for everyone to follow.
Yeah, I noticed that my dinner breaks, I actually try to stay on site if it's not too expensive, so I can actually take a nap because I am just like my brain is just fried by the time the dinner break comes around, and then you're playing actually the most important levels after. And I try to eat a little bit of a lighter meal. Is that what you would recommend though for like sort of brain function? Is to not go too heavy, or does that matter?
For me personally, I would do like a salmon with some sort of green vegetables, maybe a little bit of starch, some rice or potatoes.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy on like a huge pasta dish with an Alfredo sauce. Your body's going to have to be working so hard to digest that and process that it's going to probably affect your ability to think. And I think that's why there's so many post dinner break bust outs, is because people are making very, very poor decisions with their dinner break meals. Keep it lighter, if anything. Being slightly hungry is not going to deter you from playing your best as much as being cram packed with really bad food, and that will affect your ability to think way more than being a little hungry. So
I see. I read a while ago that like long distance runners would carb load, like just eat a whole bunch of pasta right before like a marathon and stuff. You have any thoughts on that? Like especially for a long tournament day, maybe multiple days for poker players, is that a good or a bad idea? Because it seems like you're a little bit more focused on protein.
I'm definitely more focused on protein. And just going back to what I said, a lot of people will do really good on a high carbohydrate breakfast.
Mm.
They'll find that it helps their brain function a lot better, but other people, it'll slow them down. And it's really just a matter of finding that sweet spot, because long distance running and playing poker are just two things that are completely different in terms of what you're asking your body to do. One, you're prioritizing brain function, mental clarity. The other one, you're prioritizing performance with running. So yeah, it's too hard to just give very generic advice. That's why I just say, if I can say anything, protein protein because it's going to help you feel the most full for the longest amount of time.
Okay. And then the last question before, we kind of get a little bit into how to get in contact with you and how to get some coaching from you. If you're trapped at Paris or the Horseshoe, you kind of don't want to like venture too far out from there and you have to just grab something quick for dinner. What would you recommend for people?
Really go down to that Subway if I absolutely had to and get a double meat salad. Even a double meat 6-inch turkey sub is not the end of the world.
Hmm.
But other than that, what's that? Alexa. They have some really good like salmon dishes, some good breakfast type dishes at
Oh,
Alexa. Steak and eggs. The steak and eggs at the place like right under the Eiffel Tower, Mon Gabi.
oh yeah, yeah, Monogabi. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mon Gabi. The steak and eggs there is really good. The steak and eggs
Oh,
at Alexis is really good. I'm a big steak and eggs guy for breakfast.
yeah.
With just like a slice of toast, or they give you like a handful of potatoes with it.
Nice.
I'm really big on that steak and eggs for breakfast. And then, like I said, either get a salad with double chicken, get a salmon fillet with some vegetables. A lot of restaurants there have that. And I'll just quickly also say, if you find yourself having to go out to some sort of social function, I've found that over half the restaurants that these functions are held at, this is like my go-to meal to try and just stay on track a little bit, is I get shrimp cocktail appetizer or salad. And then for the main course, I just get the 10-ounce filet mignon with some asparagus. That usually keeps me in line. I can still have a good time out being social. I'm not just getting a salad with a crouton on the side. I'm enjoying myself and I like that food. And I found that that's pretty good generic advice for most people when they find themselves in these like social dinner situations.
These are great tips, and the subway line is already so long. I hope you didn't make that line super long with what you just said.
That's why I went to Johnny Rockets last year, because there was one guy working
Yeah.
and there was 8 people in line. And Johnny Rockets, I got a double cheeseburger, fries, and a drink. Horrible meal. And it cost $42.
Oh my gosh, it's insane how much the food is right now in Vegas. It's just ridiculous.
Another reason to be proactive and load up on your own stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So TJ, this was amazing. I'm pretty sure the poker community is going to love everything you just said, especially with the World Series coming up right now. But if they wanted to get in touch with you to get a little bit more of your services, actually get a hold of these PDFs that you're talking about, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, real easy. On Twitter at the Fitness Jerk, JURK, I have a pinned tweet and it has WSOP, basically the survival guide, the food guide, the in-room workout guide, a meal prep company that you can order from that will deliver to you anywhere on the strip. It won't deliver it to your table, but they'll deliver it to your residence. There's links to that. There's a link to my email list in my Twitter bio, and you can sign up for my daily emails that I'm going to be sending out throughout WSOP, just giving quick little 2-minute read emails that you can, with tips that you can utilize throughout the series.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's the best way to get in touch with me, man.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, thank you so much, TJ. I'm going to make sure we flash all that information here on the screen so you can get in touch with TJ anytime you need. But thank you so much for coming on, man.
No problem. And I'll just say this for my final thought. You don't need to be perfect. Just aim for good enough daily and you'll be miles ahead at the end of the series.
100%. 100%. Thank you, man.